Clare County Council were very fortunate and thankful to Southern Region Assembly in terms of the approval of the funding. And as part of the overarching review, we just, in particular, there's one opportunity to provide support and develop the Friary site as a tourist offering for the county. And, the discussions we had in-house and with the externals were that if we proceeded to develop this and did not have regards to the Friary site, there was a missed opportunity. So, the tourist offering in Ennis could be better. So we decided that if we could get the support of the Southern Region Assembly, which we have secured, we would change the direction for the project to make it an iconic tourist site for Ennis Town.
And was that the perspective of Clare County Council alone, or were representatives from the Friary also bringing that perspective to you?
To be fair, we contacted the OPW, who are the custodians of the Friary site, and they have for a long time been looking for capacity to expand. At the moment, the offering is only opened from March, April until September. They're constrained in terms of the physical constraints of the site, but they're also constrained in terms of facilities for the visitor. So their visitor experience, it doesn't accommodate wheelchair users or people with mobility issues. So all of those were factors and part of a wider discussion than we had with the OPW around the opportunity. So we identified that there's an opportunity here for Ennis Town to grow a tourist offering at a historic site, at the site of Ennis, that the old historic Ennis Town.
The Friary is of course managed by the OPW, so if this Part 8 planning application is approved by the elected members, will this be a collaborative effort between the council and the OPW?
So I said nothing has been fixed at this stage. We're still in active discussions with the OPW. It would be our hope that ultimately that they would work in partnership with Clare County Council around the operation of the site. Obviously, we need the parties to work together closely. We're both state entities, both state bodies, but equally both have the best interest of the Friary site, the Cloister building and the county town in our line of sight.
Just to look at the previous proposal for a moment, the proposal was a change of use from a bar and restaurant to artist studios, workshop and classroom space, a cafe and a mixed-use exhibition or event space. Did any engagement take place with community members to assess what the view was of that proposal, or was it simply a feeling within Clare County Council that this new idea would be a better use of the space?
So there was extensive public consultation done as part of the Thrive project for the previous Part 8 application. And I suppose, we are going out to a public consultation, albeit while the Part 8 will be lodged. But I suppose that is merely due to time constraints that we have. So the Southern Region Assembly have a very definitive delivery schedule for Clare County Council to achieve and to secure the funding that we have secured. So to meet all those deliverables, and to meet our council meeting for the Part 8, our timelines were really tight. We had to work backwards from the council meeting date to when we can get in. So look, we fully acknowledge that, that there's a misstep in terms of the public consultation before the lodging of the application, but the application isn't fundamentally different. I suppose the one difference is the location of the artist studio. And I suppose we are fully accepting that there's a need for artist studios across the county town, but they don't need to be at that particular site. But we're working very closely with the Arts Office and Siobhan McNulty in terms of, providing those spaces for artists for the county town. They're mobile. They do not need to be at that particular location, fully aware that we do need to work with and consult and help and support to provide alternatives, and we've committed to that.
Just finally, Siobhan, the visual appeal of the building is something that's highly prized within the medieval town of Ennis. Will the integrity of its appearance be respected throughout this development process?
So again, that is one of the fundamental drivers. It's adjacent to a national monument. Any and all works require ministerial consent. We will be working really closely with the National Parks and Wildlife Service, the OPW, in order to secure the consent to do the works adjacent to a national monument. Everything that will be done sympathetically to the site and to the location of the site. And the visual, the only proposed change to the current visual is to restore it to what it might have looked like. And we have photographs, from an earlier time where one of the windows, the proposal is that would be removed and that would be the main access to the site. But that was works that was done as part of the development of that building as the cafe restaurant, and that is going to be returned to what it might have looked like, or what it would have looked like, prior to that redevelopment. Again, in sympathy with the building, in sympathy with the architectural conservation requirements, and the fact that it is adjacent to a national monument.